Hello folks, thank you for joining me. Welcome back to the channel and thank you for your time. You are almost most welcome. So today we are continuing our odyssey of Matchbox kits because it's 50 years of Matchbox this year. The magic of Matchbox returns and it's Matchbox March as I make this vid. So here we are again, and we've been very generously supported, especially Matchbox March, with several of you who've come forward, and we've had 6 or 7 kits now I think, all generously donated or bought or lent to us. Some of the more valuable ones I've had to go back, damn it, you know. But actually this one was one of those, and I've actually been offered to keep this, and I'm not sure whether I should or not, because the gentleman, Mr. John Fogo, who lives down on the south coast of England, I'm not sure if I should keep this or not, because he's already been quite generous, and I'm particularly looking forward to this because this is something I've not seen before. It's the USS Indianapolis. Now this was an American Navy heavy cruiser. I always normally call it a battleship, but that's not correct. It's actually a heavy cruiser, and it did have a very big role in history. Now the ship was very sadly sunk. I think it was in the right toward the end of the war. It was actually sunk by a Japanese submarine. But unlucky for the Japanese, it sort of had revenge, sort of from beyond a watery grave, you could almost say, because what the Japanese didn't know when they were all celebrating about sinking the ship, which is tragic, and a lot of sailors died. I think there was only about a third or a quarter of the crew survived. But this ship had already, unbeknownst to them and anybody else at the time, had actually just delivered a few weeks earlier the first atomic bomb to the island of Tinian to be dropped on Hiroshima. And it was basically, it's a good job it wasn't sunk, you know, when it had the atomic bomb on board. Not that it had gone off, I don't think, but it would have been lost. And it certainly wouldn't be a very safe thing to have at the bottom of the ocean. But so it's got its place in history, you know, despite having been destroyed. It's pivotal, really, in the success of the end of the Second World War. Not a very nice success when you have to drop atomic bombs on a country, but that's where they were at, and they didn't have much choice, I don't think, at the time. But we won't get into the ethics of it. We will concentrate on the magic of Matchbox. So I'm going to zoom you in and let you have a good look at this, because there's some nice artwork on this. This is from 1979 when they brought the ship's range out, and I have to say, not one I've seen before. Very, very nice. It's got some cracking artwork on the side. So this is PK165, and this is a proper Matchbox, not one of these Revelry boxes. And you can see it's got its guns, which I think they were 15-inch guns or 12-inch. I can't remember. Forgive me, I didn't do my research properly, but they were big guns, make no mistake. I don't think this is one of the boats that was at Pearl Harbor, or if it was, it obviously escaped without too much damage. It's got a seaplane on the side. You get a nice profile shot there. On the other side, it shows you what the kit's going to look like in its 2 colours, if you don't use any paints. And I have to say that Matchbox were pretty sensible with the way they went about it on the boats. Instead of having these completely wild and wacky colours that they had on some of the others, like the Brewster Buffalo, you know, with its lipstick red and vanilla coloured. Never understood that one. And it wasn't the only one, was it? There was another that came with that red. Violent, almost day glow red, you know. This has got a sensible 2-tone of grey. Anyway, let's get into it without further ado and have a look. Oh, sorry, I'm forgetting. The other thing that's interesting about this, because I'm not familiar with these ship kits, is on the rear. Bring it in. On the rear, it also has. It's got a window box. Now, how about that? That's very nice, isn't it? Really like the way they've done that. Side profile of it. Little bit of detail. 1979 Lesney products. This is when they were at the very peak of their quality, I think. Yeah, and you get a window box, which I haven't seen that before. Not in that design, where it's up at the top right. Excellent, isn't it? So there we are. Okay, so let's have a look at it then. Let's see what we've got. Gentle. So this is, what's it, 43 years old actually, this particular one. that's still probably older than most of my viewers. Well, maybe not. Right, instructions. I don't know if John's done this very wisely. If he has, he's going to put the decals in a little bag with a little piece that must have come off the sprue. And we've got what looks like the base has come off the sprue. And then we've got dark grey, and we've got 2 sprues of pale grey. Right, so let's just move all that aside. Pop that gently over there. Now then, here we go. Now again, this is where Revell went wrong with the later kits, isn't it? Because they got rid of all this detail. They didn't put it in the instructions, which we did see with the Lysander and also that Heinkel a few weeks ago. This is one of the things that made Matchbox nice. Every step of doing it, or opening it and looking at every step has some sort of Easter egg treasures to look at, and enjoy. And this is one of them, this history that they did so well. So here is just zooming in for a second, and I'll read it to you because it'll be quicker, I think. You get this rather nice, artwork showing the ship on the high seas in the Pacific, and then you get a proper bit of history, which we will now delve into. He says we get the zoom to work. My zoom's been playing up. I think the battery needs replacing. It says here, the 2 ships of the Portland class, Portland and Indianapolis, were direct descendants of the first US treaty cruisers, the Pensacola's, limited to 10,000 tons and 20 centimetre guns. Okay. Indianapolis was laid down on the 31st of March 1930, and it was completed in November 32, carrying 9 20 centimetre guns, 2 1.3 kilograms, 16 3 centimetre and 8 12 centimetre. Sorry, we'll start again. It's the way they're written. It's very strange the way they're written. So it's got 9 20 centimetre, it's got 8 12.5 centimetre guns. So it's 200 millimetre, isn't it? 200 millimetre guns. What's that in inches? That's did I say that's 12 inches? Is it 13 inch? 13 inch? Anyway, I won't do a maths lesson live on TV because I'll probably lose out. And it says, and it has 2 catapults for 4 float planes on a standard displacement of just under 10,000 tons. She was the flagship of the US Navy's scouting force for many years before the outbreak of World War II. And in 1936 she took President Roosevelt on a month-long goodwill visit to South America. She performed much valuable service during the war and became Admiral Sprue's flagship in late 1943. But her record is overshadowed by 2 events that took place in the closing weeks of the war, just before VJ Day. First, on the 16th of July 1945, she carried out a top-secret mission that was to have a profound effect on the outcome of the war. Her task was to transport the first operational atomic bomb from San Francisco to the Marianas Islands, a task that was successfully accomplished. Second, by a strange irony, she became the focus of the US Navy's worst disaster involving a ship at sea on a voyage to the Philippines just 2 weeks later. She was hit by torpedoes, probably K-10s, man-carrying suicide torpedoes. Good grief, didn't know that. Okay. So, from the Japanese submarine I-58, and she sank in 12 minutes. God. Her loss was not appreciated for 3 days, by which time nearly 900 of her 1,200 crew had perished. Oh dear. So it's got quite a sad story, but like I say, they had revenge from beyond the grave because, basically a month later that bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and the beginning of the end of the war came about. Anyway, we will not focus on bad news and war too much today because we've got plenty of that in the news. Anyway, let's have a look at this. So you've actually got this rather nicely done. I don't know if they're all like this, but look at the layout of it. It's really good. You've got a nice sort of graphic of the ship giving you the paint guide about what each part should be coloured, and then you've got your typical mini paint call out guide here. And you've got your paints going on there. On the rear, okay, that's the end of the instructions. So let's go straight into the instructions. So we've got, you build up your base, and then your sides, and then your top of the hull. And your main guns are going on there, 200mm guns. Then you've got your funnels, number 2 here, and number 2 and number 3. Funnels going in, and then you're building up the main sort of bridge area and tower. Then you've got the seaplane launch ramp here. And then we've got the bringing them together. You've got another tower with the funnel here, and then you're building up all this the ancillary levels of the top of the bridge and radar and all that kind of stuff. Then we've got some guns going in. Is it guns and radar? Guns and radar and lights, I think it is. Quite a lot of stuff. Very busy. Lots of stuff going on here. Whoops. And then you're bringing it all together and you're putting this frontal bridge and the rear sort of decking and superstructure is going on here, complete with your crane here. And this is your float plane launch catapult here. And then you got your rear guns and the little gun deck at the back. Obviously weren't able to get that suicide torpedo, sadly. And then you've got your little aircraft here, complete with you've got one that's got wings out and one that's got wings in. Is that option? No, there are two. Yeah, there are two. One on each side. I think one is in the launch position and one's in the recovery position down here. And you've got all the other ancillary bits, like all your lifeboats are going on, and you've got your radar, your masts, many anti-aircraft guns here. Very nice, actually. I like it. I really do. It's interesting. It's interesting. It makes you kind of makes you want to build it straight away. It's certainly, given that Matchbox were dipping their toe in the water for the first time with the ships, it looks great. I've got to be honest. I mean, the airfix at the time weren't great. I did have a couple of those. I think I had the Leander class and the County class destroyers. One of my favourite kits of all time. Anyway, obviously this sprue, we'll start with this one, but this sprue is the one where the base piece has actually come out of the sprue. Here it is, and it's got on it like a fish, isn't it? What does it say? Lesney Products. There we go. Matchbox Lesney Products and Co. Limited. 1979, there you go. Excellent. So that would go there. So let's have a little closer look at some of these parts then. What have we got? We've got a couple of lifeboats here. And then, whoops, don't drop it. And then we've got various parts of the main structure of the ship here. Several parts I don't even recognise what they are. Is that the anchor? Anchor locator? Yeah, there's quite a lot of parts here that are building up the superstructure here, and you've got your funnels here. It's got a big tall one at the front and a shorter one at the back. Very nice. No flash, no nonsense, no problem. Is that the piece that's missing? I think it is. I think our missing part, we should have just shown the one decal, is actually the good old stars and stripes. See that? There we go. Stars and stripes. We've got this one piece, which I think is the one that's missing here where my finger is, that's got the part missing. So that goes in there, I think. Okay, then we've got the second sprue. This is now the top part of the actual ship. It's the deck, basically. You can see you've got your anchor chains here. Make that out. There we go, anchor chains here. And this is the rear gun deck over here, where the two small gun turrets are. It's very heavily armed, wasn't it? No doubt about that. And then you've got your float planes here, which look cool, don't they? Planes look great. And don't forget, I should have explained, this is 700th scale, so that's why they're so tiny. They've actually rendered those really nicely. They really are nice. So So come on, you experts, what plane was it? Was it a Cutlass? I'm not an expert on this at all. Does it say that? It just says 4 float planes. Doesn't say what they are. Anyway, I've just realised, are those lifeboats or is that the floats for the float plane? I'm just going back to the other sprue here. I think I may be wrong. I think those are maybe the floats for the float plane here. I think that's what they are. But you've got a nice deck, and the actual moulding is beautiful as ever. And then finally, we've got this big old sprue here, which has got the size of the actual hull on it, and all the little fine detail parts. And there is some very fine detail parts here, including the guns. Look at that, all the guns here. More here, and you've got your crane for lifting the seaplane, and then you've got various little anti-aircraft guns, 50 cal anti-aircraft guns, lots and lots of those, and then we've got the sort of masts here, and it's really nice, you know. That's really, I bet I'm building to a really cracking looking little ship, no question. Now I was wrong about the floats. I will go back to just discussing about the seaplane floats. There are the seaplane floats here. So they were lifeboats that I pointed out. I was right the first time. It's more obvious now when you see them in that shape. It's clearly the float for the aircraft. And it's really nice, isn't it? I really like it. That's a beauty. So, what do we think of this then? Now this is something completely new for me. I think I had the Ariadne, and I think I may have had was it the Bismarck or the Graf Spee? I can't remember. I'm sure I had one of those, and I had the Ariadne. But my memory of them, if I'm completely honest, is very vague now, because I wasn't really into ships. But I've got to say that that's a lovely kit. They're always nice, you know. They never sort of disappoint you. I mean, for its scale. You know, I've got the Revell HMS Invincible at the same scale, which is relatively recent kit from 90s, late 90s, I think it was, early 2000s. There's a Dragon Reebox. It's not better than this. It's not, if as good in places, I think. Some of the fine detail here looks finer. You know, there's some real sharp moulding there. Remarkable, really, for the scale and the time. I think that's an absolute corker, to be honest. So, our friend John Fogo, who sent us these lovely kits, he'll be eagerly awaiting my verdict on this. I am going to say, well, what don't I like about it? Not very much, if I'm quite honest. Not a lot to criticise. It's got great instruction, nice artwork, a lovely box presentation. The parts are nice. I think for what it is and what it costs, I'm going to give that 10 out of 10, which I haven't done for a long time, not for many months. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 because I just can't really find anything negative to say about it, actually. It's a lovely little kit. So if they're all like that, you know, somebody was it James or somebody else was talking on the live chat about the Corvette, Flower class Corvettes in 72nd scale, which Matchbox one is a big thing, it's about this big. And everybody seems to rave about that, so I think I may have missed out with these, not having an interest in boats perhaps at the time when I was younger. They are really nice. I'd like to see more of them now. I'm interested to see more. So if any of you have got a boat from Matchbox, a ship I should say, what am I saying? Any of you got Matchbox ships that you'd like to have reviewed? I'm thinking of the Bismarck, or is it the Graf Spee? I can't remember. One of the German pocket battleships anyway. But any of them, the Corvette, I would love to review that. No problem sending it back to you. I may still send this back to John, so I kind of feel a bit guilty about taking it off him, really. It's almost too good, and I know that he had to dig this out of his loft from his collection, so I might send it back to him. Because I have something else I have to send back anyway, so it's no cost really. We will see. We'll see what his reaction is on that. Anyway, I hope he likes the review because I give it 10 out of 10, and that's a big thumbs up from me. I love that kit. Way better than I was expecting, if I'm honest. Fantastic. So, thank you very much for joining me. I mentioned John Fogo, who is our contributor and subscriber and regular viewer, although he's only joined the channel fairly recently. And he has sent me one more thing, which is definitely saving the best for last. It's incredible, and he wants it back. I don't blame him. You'll see why. You'll see why. So do tune in for that. It's coming up very, very soon indeed. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. And if you have, ding the notification bell, smash the like button, give us a like, give us 10 out of 10. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Please do come back very soon because you don't want to miss the next one. Stay tuned. Thanks for your time. Hope you all stay safe. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.